All right, BugeyeBob back here again. Before I can put in the rear or the cockpit rear bulkhead, I've discovered some things I have to fix. There's 6 patches that I have to put in. And I've got the patches cut out and shaped. So let's take a look at where they have to go. Okay, so on each side, this piece right here needs to be patched up, and then run a light up like this. There you can see the hole that's got to be patched up. This has to be cut out in here because it's rotted out. And then the small patch has to be put in on each side. Needs a patch to replace the bottom inch and whatever it is of these, which it's all rusted out. This was not quite as bad as the other side is. I'll show you that in a minute. But these patches all go in here like this. One of the nasty problems you get hit with when you're replacing these things is you want to cut as close as you can to fit that patch perfectly. Now, if you're doing it out where you can get at things easily, then it's not too bad. But when you're doing it in here, it's real inconvenient to try to get down in and see what you're doing and what you're cutting, to try to use a cutting disc to cut these pieces out. This one right here won't be too bad because it's kind of close, easy. You can get at it, not too bad to get at. This one down here is going to be a problem because there's a tendency when it's a real long space like that to get twisted off to the side one way or the other and just not have a very good straight line cut. So my plan is to use, this is a piece of old bed frame. Just cut it to the right length. You can pick up these bed frames. It's cheap angle iron is what it is. You can pick these things up at a secondhand store for 10, 12 bucks. You can sometimes find them along the edge of the road for nothing when it's trash time. My plan is to get that all lined up on each side, pull out the Cleco pins, pull out the piece, and now I've got a straight edge that I can run my cutoff disc alongside of, and it's thick enough that it's going to guide that pretty good. If I slide up against it first and then go in, now right here I've got to be careful because there's a brace back there, so I can't be cutting the brace, but I can cut on each side and then very carefully nick across here and pop this all off. But this gives me something to rub the cutoff disc up against. Even if I grind this up a little bit, I still got another edge that I can work on the other side. And this is cheap chunk of steel. So this gives me a good clean edge to cut against. I think we're fine. Up here, I can see, I can work close enough to where my lines are that I don't think I'll have to worry about cutting this all out of whack. So I think we're good there. Yeah, so I guess we're at the point where the next thing to do, I was hoping to be able to take this thing outside and do all the cutting and grinding outside, but every time I get set to do that, the weather starts raining. And I don't mind working outside in 95-degree temperatures with 95% humidity, but I'm a little impartial to doing that in the rain when I'm working with electrical power tools. So that is where we are at. I've got to cut these pieces out. I've got to grind out, grind isn't perhaps the best word. I've got to clean off the material so that I can get a good weld against it. I'm not a fan of using this material. It's only 20 gauge. This was originally 19, which is very close to 20. The only other option I've got is 18 gauge, and in right in here, 18 gauge is going to end up sticking out and it's going to look ugly. So I just decided to go with the 20 gauge. So that takes care of all of that. And I will not bother showing you all the cutting because you've seen cutting. I'm not going to bother showing you all the welding because you've seen welding. I'll probably come back when it's all over and done with and show you that it's all over and done with. Let's talk about where we're at and what we got. Wheel wells, this little spot right here was rusted out real bad, as was inside of the cockpit area, right behind the driver's seat. I'll show you that in just a minute. Had to repair this. This side went pretty good. Little small tacks went along pretty good. Let us look down here. Let's look right in here at this piece, which I had to weld in because this was rusted out. And this went pretty good. Now, I don't remember how many videos back it was. I had a problem where I was having tack welds that looked like little snowmen. So, these are pretty good, especially compared to what the hell I had before. A couple of things changed. Number one, I made sure to clean the metal a lot better. And number two, this is 18 gauge, that's supposedly 19 gauge. It's probably rusted to the point where it's more like 20 gauge. So 20 gauge, 18 gauge, the settings that they recommend for the welder per the table that they send with it, cute little magnetic table that just happens to look like this. They recommend for 20 gauge a wire feed speed of 8.2, for 18 gauge 12.4, amperage 40 for the 20 gauge, 60 for the 18 gauge, and voltage of 14.6 to 15.9 if you're running 30.030 wire. So they say that welder will not work with anything smaller than 0.030 wire. I bought through eBay a 0.023, 0.025, I think it was 0.025 roller, just on the odd chance, and lo and behold, it fits. So I am running 0.025 wire, and the gas on both of them is 75-25, 75% argon, 25% CO2. The material is cold rolled steel, mild steel, whatever you want to call it. The settings that I'm using here with the 0.025 wire, the settings that I'm using with the 0.025 wire are, well, first off, the settings are telling the welder, you're welding 10 gauge material. Fine. I was cranking up the amperage until I hit 140 amps and cranked up the voltage a little bit, and that's when I started getting these to lay down real good. I'm going in and it's bzzz, and that's it. It's a quick hit. And it penetrates all the way through to the other side beautifully. This piece here I hammered and dollied a little bit, but for all practical purposes there was next to nothing that I did. The other side I've literally done no hammer and dollying on. I'll show you that in a minute. And the 19.6 volts is what I was running at here. And that all worked pretty good. Now, one other little thing that I want to show you, if I can zoom in on it. Where is it at? This right here. This is a spot weld. I have found a 115 volt spot welder with 18-inch arms, which I will show you right now. So this is my spot welder. I was looking for one online. Somebody put one up that had the 18-inch tongs on it, and they wanted $200 for it. I immediately got a hold of them. They were a bit shocked because it was only up for like 20 minutes when I found it. And I drove up. They wanted $200 for it. I didn't even blink. And they showed me that it worked, and that was fine enough for me. Now, what I did have to do, somebody had pretty much destroyed these tips. And they had brazed on, literally brazed, some flat chunks of copper on there instead of proper spot welding tips. But he tested it for me, proved that it actually would, he actually spot welded galvanized washers together with it, which it's a bit tough because the zinc coating on the washers kind of makes it a little difficult to get them to weld together because that zinc coating pretty much vaporizes and then you've got this white powder, but it did it just fine. So I went and cut off those pieces, drilled out very carefully the ends of the tongs, and then tapped them for the proper tips that go on the tongs, and tried it out on some spare pieces of metal, and sure as all hell it worked great. Now it's getting a little bit off center here, so I need to adjust those tongs just a little bit, but it spot welds perfectly. So I went and did some checking on, you can buy one of these things. This one happens to be a Miller. How old it is, I have no idea. Basically, the way these things work, this thing converts a 115 volt input of, I'm guessing around 20 amps, and it outputs about 1 volt at 3,000 amps. This one works good. Had to do a little adjusting on the thing back here to get it to automatically pop apart. You adjust these here and here. It came with a handle hung off the side. That's not the way they're supposed to be. The handle is supposed to be on the top. So I took a couple pieces of 11 gauge and bent them up and bashed one into my thumb while I was drilling it because I didn't clamp it down like I should have. Lessons learned, folks. Clamp down whatever you're drilling. But it works fine. So let's get back over onto this thing. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can now make a one-time or recurring donation to help save Lazarus through PayPal. For less than the price of a cup of coffee each month, you can support this project as a member on Patreon. See the links in the description below. Now remember, I have to get this stuff all done before I can put in the rear bulkhead, and the rear bulkhead has to go in before I can put in the braces that hold up the floor. So this is, as you go along, find one thing to fix, find another thing to fix, so on and so forth. Got these pieces repaired, put some pieces of 18 gauge in here, welded them to the wheel well, made sure that this is all sealed here. So I'm going to spray in a whole bunch of stuff up in here to protect the metal. This side, I don't know why, but this side was absolute hell. This piece of metal here is the same as the one I put on the other side on the wheel well, and that side welded up fine. This side, I kept getting this, and I cleaned this all up as best I could, but I kept getting just absolute crap welds. One of the things that I did that seemed to cause that somewhat was I was using a magnet behind here to hold these pieces together. And I think that magnet blew, was causing part of the problem. But this metal here is extremely thin. So it was blowing through real easily. So I had to literally slowly, touch, tap, touch, tap, touch, tap. Watch Fitzy Fabrications videos where he does a cut and butt. And when he gets a blowout like that, you'll see that what he does is just hit that thing for just a second. You'll get a little short burst, and then it'll catch the edge of it, and you can keep doing that until you finally get the hole to close up. So I also did the same thing here. Now on both sides there's a brace behind here, and I spot welded this piece to the brace with a spot welder. This was spot welded down here. I spot welded back up here also. So there were 1, 2, 3. This one right here is actually a joint. So it's spot welded, but I also went back and hit it with a plug weld. So, but the rest of these here, one of the things that I did that I think kept it from twisting around a lot was I went and did tack welds on one side, and then because the other side is going to be hidden, I did tack welds on this side. So what I tried to do was offset the tack welds so that where it might want to grab the metal and bend it this way, I had one on the other side that made it want to bend this way. And I think that worked out pretty good. On each side right in here, there's a little bit of a bow out, but I think I can dolly that back, hammer and dolly that back down, so it's not bad at all. Same thing over on this side. Again, this side I was having a lot of problems with blow through, but this is all welded in a patch here, and this is all sealed up so that you're not going to have water splashing up into the passenger compartment. At least I hope not. Now, I still have to grind all of those welds off, grind them down flush. I will grind this all down so that this is flush here so that stuff doesn't collect on it. Honestly, I'm not a fan of having these pieces welded like this because crap wants to collect up behind them and stick up in there. Got to go through and grind this all down flat. I'll grind these down so that they're not so sticking up so much and so obvious. Then I'm not going to bother grinding the inside of this. And quite frankly, the reason is that's going to be hidden. I'm just going to spray that up with this primer that prevents rust, and that's going to be it. I do have a little bit of cleanup work to do right in here. That's got to be finished welded up. One of the things I did was I made sure before I took this side off, I used it to make sure that the other side was level with all the way across. Once I had the other side in, I used it to make sure that this side was level all the way across, so that you didn't have one of these things where the metal went like this, from this to this on this side. Your floor pan gets spot welded to this piece right here. As you can see, here's a bit of the old floor pan right there. So that's still got to be taken out. And there's some of the floor pan up front and stuff that still has to be taken out too. But once we get this rear bulkhead back in place and welded into place, and I think I can spot weld that up a ways up into here, not all the way, but at least some of the ways up into here. Down in the lower part, I can get the jaws in here to spot weld up to probably about there. I might be able to use it anyways to get the rest of the spot welds up through there. It'd be nice if I could. If I can't, it's going to mean that I've got to drill holes and plug weld these pieces on. I don't mind doing that with the thicker materials, but this bulkhead is fairly thin. So I think it's 20 gauge, so I'd rather not do it that way. Got to clean this green cap off. That wraps it up for this video. Next video, I will finish putting in the rear bulkhead and probably start fitting, if I have time, I'll start fitting the rear brackets and braces that hold the passenger and driver's seat in place and that the floor pan mounts up to. I want to get those done because they lock everything together front to rear. And once I get them in, then I can start tearing the sills off and replacing the inner and outer sills. Once the inner and outer sills are replaced, that's major stuff. That's the inner and outer sill are basically major structural frame of this vehicle. So once they're replaced, if I wanted to, I probably could put in the floor pans, but I don't think that I will, because I've got a lot of bits and pieces of shrapnel. I've got the foot pedals for gas and clutch and all that other stuff. All of that's got to be cleaned up. Probably have to find it. Might even have to find new ones of those. There's braces. The one big brace goes on each side that holds the driver's and passenger seat up. And then there are other braces that I have to get made. I've got 2 of them and I need 4 of them that are the rails that get mounted to the floor pan to hold the seats and stuff in place. So again, that's it for this video. Told you a little bit about what's coming up in next videos. Please folks, comment, subscribe, share this. The big things that get this channel viewed by other people are subscriptions, comments, sharing. Comments are important to me because they kind of give me an indication of Am I providing content that's interesting people? I got videos that 50 people watch. I've got other ones that, I've got one of them that 11,000 people watch. So it's kind of like, how do I know what kind of content you like if I don't get any feedback? So feedback is great, really helps a lot. So thank you very much, folks. Appreciate you watching. See you next video. And in the meantime, you folks have a great life. Over and out. Well, folks, that's it for this episode of BugeyeBob. I really appreciate you watching and hope that, like me, you've learned a few things to do or maybe not to do in this episode. Please like and comment on this video as it encourages YouTube to share it with others and helps grow the channel. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell to get notified when new videos are released. If you'd like to support this channel and save Lazarus from the recycle furnace, you can now make a one-time or recurring donation through PayPal. You can also support this restoration project by becoming a member at patreon.com/BugeyeBob. Patreon members get early access to the videos and in the future will enjoy question and answer sessions and live streams. As this channel grows, future Patreon member benefits will include bonus or extended videos, member names in the credits, and the ability to suggest topics for future videos. You can follow this BugeyeBob restoration on YouTube and Facebook. You'll find the links in the description below for PayPal, Patreon, YouTube, and Facebook. Once again, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and supporting this channel.